Donations. Donations. Listen, man, we're about a month and a half removed from this Kendrick and Drake beef. I just want to give my thoughts on why I think Kendrick won. And yes, he did win. Okay. And I don't want nobody in my comment section talking about, he a Kendrick Glazer, or he a Drake hater. Listen, I'll get to that in a second. I feel like for us to truly understand why Kendrick won compared to Drake, we really got to look at how they grew up and how they both came up in the music industry. Kendrick, he grew up in Compton, California. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was around the time he was around when, the whole Pac and Biggie thing was going on. I think there was a story about how he was there when Pac filmed the California Love video or something like that. He was born in 87, straight off the crack epidemic. And it was just a lot of hip hop acts that already came from that area when he was growing up, and he saw that. And he wanted to be like them. NWA, Corrupt, Pac, Snoop, Cube, all them niggas, right? And him, knowing Top Dog, which was or is the head of TDE, who he would eventually sign to, he just had more of a foundation in the roots of hip hop, the roots of competitiveness. Because there was a lot of rap beats going on around that time too, and he was probably looking at that and he took that in. It's like, I know I want to be a hip hop artist. I want to embody this. I want to embody the spirit of hip hop, and that's what Kendrick does. Drake, on the other hand, his father, his uncle, and his grandfather have like musical careers. I don't really know to what extent, but apparently the grandfather was very successful in his career, and so was his uncle. His dad and his uncle was actually supposed to take after the grandfather, but the uncle's the one that did that more successfully than Drake's own dad did, which is why I feel like he feels like he has to be around Drake to like bask in some kind of success. Like, if I didn't make it, then at least I can, be there for my son's success and reap the benefits of that. That's my daughter in the background. I apologize, y'all. But Drake growing up with a white mom because his dad wasn't there. And, him, if he started off, with the grassy stuff, like the child actor stuff. So while he was definitely a fan of hip hop, but he didn't grow up in a hip hop centric like background. I don't know if that makes sense. I heard that he went to like mainly all white schools and stuff like that. Like, he dressed preppy, he looked nerdy and all this stuff. Not saying that, and there's not anything wrong with that. Lord knows I'm a nerdy ass nigga to the day I die, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. But when you compare the two, it's like Kendrick grew up hip hop. Drake grew up wanting to be hip hop. And you can really recognize that when you see how he like maneuvered through the game throughout his career up to this point. Now, this is the part that I couldn't wait to get to. Obviously, when it comes to Kendrick versus Drake, these two niggas do not value the same things. When it comes to Kendrick, I feel like he tries to lead his life with integrity, love, discipline, all of that good shit, grown man shit. A lot of stuff that is clearly lacking in this generation these days. All throughout his albums, he's always talking about, wanting to be better and do better and putting his traumas on the paper. And I feel like that's very commendable. It takes a lot of integrity to do some shit like that and put it on wax, nonetheless. Now, when I think of Drake, I think of a nigga who just wants all the fame, the notoriety, the women, the cars, the money, all that. And that's cool. As a man, I feel like you should try to maximize your potential and, get all those things. But it's the way you go about it. Whenever I think of Drake's music, he's always talking about ops. He's always talking about, I can't trust this person. I can't trust that person. oh, these women that I'm trying to get with, they don't want to be with me because they don't act the way I want them to act. Or, you know, he's always talking about people being jealous of him. And it's just like, bruh, all you talk about is negativity. How much you don't got. How much people hate on you. You're the most successful nigga in the game right now. And yet you still talking about shit you don't have. And then when you rap about the stuff you do got, it's all vanity, bruh. The cars, the women, the clothes, the fame, the status. Which is cool. Because you can make a lot of catchy ass songs off that alone. Don't get me wrong. And Drake is very good at doing that. But when I think of Kendrick versus Drake, essentially what I think of is integrity, discipline, love versus fame, vanity, and immaturity. And I feel like that's another reason why Kendrick won. The stuff that Kendrick stands for will always beat out the stuff that Drake stands for. Because it's like, you're supposed to want to get those things. Every nigga wants the best car, nice looking house, you know, a really good looking wife, all that. Every nigga want that. At the end of the day, like that immature shit, that's cool when you in high school, like, oh, I got, you know, more hoes, you know what I'm saying? That shit is cool to say in high school, nigga. You in your late 30s. It's time to tee the fuck up, nigga. Like, you think about it, you know, Drake, 37. Still singing, rapping about the same shit he was 10 years ago on albums like Take Care, Nothing Was the Same. Kendrick, on the other hand, his last album, he was talking about putting all his traumas, he put all his traumas on the paper and talking about how he was trying to heal through them. That's grown man shit. That's the kind of shit that I want to be talking about when I'm in my late 30s. I don't want to be still talking about the same shit I was talking about when I was 22. That's not growth. That's not growth at all. You got one nigga that is single, still talking about ops, still talking about what he don't got, and you got another nigga who's talking about, I'm happy raising my kids. He's talking about how he wants to break generational traumas and curses and all that. I'd rather be the nigga that's trying to be better, be a better man. Better man means better society. If we all become better eventually, because you don't heal that kind of shit overnight. I want to stand for that. I'm sorry. I feel like we should also look at how both of them handle beefs very differently. Even though Kendrick hasn't really had any big beefs the way Drake has had with like Meek Mill, Pusha T, you know, Joe Budden and Common and whoever the fuck else. Kendrick has had like little back and forths, but he always kept it bars. You know what I'm saying? When he said what he said against like Jay Electronica, that little back and forth he had with Big Sean, whoever the fuck else. He even scrapped a whole version of Element that was gonna bring some like that type energy. And we would have had this happen like what, 8, 7, 6 years ago, okay? When it comes to Kendrick, all he's really done in his little spats is just say what any other hip-hop nigga would say in the beef, is that I'm better than you. Just a creative way of saying I'm better than you. Now Drake, on the other hand, he does that, but he also, for some reason, always wants to mention your baby mama, your ex, your spouse, whatever the fuck, someone close to you. Drake is always the one that takes it personally and responds personally. With Pusha T, he mentioned his wife. In Push-Ups, he mentioned Kendrick's wife. He's always taking that route. It's never been good for him. And I feel like that speaks to how Drake looks at rap beefs compared to how Kendrick looks at them. Kendrick respects his opponent. When you respect your opponent, you're not gonna diss they like mom or they sister or a baby mama or an ex or some shit. You just, like I said, just say in a creative way, I'm better than you. That's all him and Cole was gonna do. Which is why I don't get why Cole apologized, because Kendrick kept it hip hop with Cole. He just said, fuck the big three, it's just Big Me, because Cole been sending shots his way for a while. And no, I didn't know it. I think a lot of people don't know that Cole's been sub-dissing Kendrick for a while. So his response to first person shooter wasn't out of nowhere. And then you link with Drake, which is I mean, Kendrick actually hates Drake, so he probably took it a different way altogether. But that's for another video. But it would have just been hip hop if it was Cole versus Kendrick. Because even when Cole responded, all he said was, "Oh, your album's weak." You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't be discussing you if you wasn't dissing. That's hip hop. Only reason it got personal with Drake is because Drake mentioned Whitney first. People don't seem to fucking realize that. He mentioned Whitney on Push-Ups. That was before Kendrick did Meet the Grams. That was before Kendrick, even on Euphoria, when he responded to that after the Taylor Made, he still kept it hip hop and just was, the whole Sexy Red shit and, talking all his shit. He still kept it hip hop, but he said at the end, if you take it there, I'm taking it further to something you don't want to do. Even at the start, you wanted to, hey, what'd he say? On the Heart Part 4 too? And to bring back to the point that I made earlier, Kendrick, when he's beefing with somebody, or if it's just like a back and forth, it's hip hop. Drake, he doesn't respect his opponent. He wants to embarrass them. He wants to, that's the point of a beef. But I'm saying, like, he wants to hurt you in a way that will transcend a beef. Because with the way Drake be talking, I'm surprised this nigga's still alive. Another thing is, I just think that Kendrick has a better pen game. And I'll explain why. If we are to believe that Drake writes majority of his stuff, his pen game is very nice. His pen game is, he's got crazy punchlines, nice melodic, catchy flows. Or sometimes he does the shit where he sounds like he's just talking, but it's rhyming really well. But his pen game just isn't good enough for him to get off the kind of stuff that Kendrick can get off. Drake's thought processes can't go deeper than what he's talking about, if that makes sense. Like, when it comes to Kendrick, he'll write something in a way that'll make you think like, oh, he meant it this way, but the way he explained it, like, he used like a lot of metaphor. Like, Kendrick the type of nigga that the meaning of the title of the song would be a double meaning in itself. That's the kind of pen game this nigga got. And I just feel like it's not comparable. Drake's pen game is nice, but it's like, I feel like anyone who is any bit of a rapper could easily replicate Drake's writing. You can't really do that to Kendrick. Kendrick's writing is super original. It's like the stuff that he says, the way he can get it off, the storytelling, the lyricism, it's very obvious who worked on their pen game more than the other person. And there was OVO Sweatshop rumors for a reason. I don't think Drake really writes. I think he writes a lot of his songs, but I also feel like he has a lot of help. Like, Drake, to me, is just a machine at this point. He's just a corporate machine at this point. And don't get me wrong, I know they don't make the same kind of music. Drake's music is always meant to just be catchy and be a hit. Kendrick's music, Kendrick can make hits. He's shown he can make hits. But he's always been the deeper rapper, more lyricism, storytelling, wordplay, entendres, all that shit, right? But when you hear tracks like Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, Duckworth, You, How Much a Dollar Costs, any track where Kendrick has shown his lyrical prowess and his writing style, I don't think Drake could write tracks like that. He really couldn't. And that's okay. Not every nigga has to do that. But I'm just saying, when it comes to a rap battle, that shit really matters. This is the argument that I hate having the most. Quantity over quality. Don't get me wrong, we all want our favorite artists to release on a consistent basis. I don't think that's unreasonable as an expectation. But in some ways, it kind of is. Because when you deliver albums like To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Good Kid, Mad City, that takes a long fucking time. The writing process, the recording, clearing samples, getting this nigga for a feature. Every other nigga's got something going on too. You gotta match their schedules to do the feature. That shit takes a long ass time. The talking to the label execs, yada yada, whoop de whoop. That shit takes a long ass time. And I feel like when you have a team behind you like Drake does, it's easy to pump out, you know, this at a much faster rate. And when you making albums that are only meant to have hits, yeah, you can put out at a much higher like frequency, because your album's not like, you didn't have to put that much work into writing it. You probably didn't have to put that much work into finding the beats. You just trying to make hits. When you make hits, you can crank out shit crazy. Ask Gunna, he done dropped an album 3 years in a row, and that nigga don't be talking about shit. I fuck with Gunna. Don't do that. I fuck with Gunna. You know what I'm saying? But when you compare that to what Kendrick be talking about, and I'm not saying that just because a nigga talks about something deep that it automatically makes it better than a nigga who ain't really talking about nothing. Because, I mean, Hobson talks about stuff that is important, I guess, but you'll never catch me listening to him over Gunna or Future. I'm sorry. The whole reason we like to listen to more of that stuff is because it has more replay value, right? Which, that's fine. It has more replay value for a reason. We just want to catch a vibe, you know what I'm saying? Shit is hard these days. I get it. But it's like, when you release albums that are meant to sit with you and you think about it, and it makes you think about stuff that you probably wouldn't think about on a day-to-day basis, it probably takes a lot of talent and effort to even put out an album that can evoke that kind of emotion from you. So I really think that Kendrick's albums are definitely of higher quality, but Drake does put out more. Whether you value the other or what, I mean, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, Kendrick definitely is all around a greater artist in my opinion, because he's shown that he can make hits. He's had Swimming Pools, you know, DNA, Mad City, Not Like Us, of course. He can do that, but he wants to be more than just the hit maker. He wants to be a person that puts a message in his albums. He wants to give you, you know, all the stuff that he's been thinking about. Even on Mr. Around the Big Steppers, he said, 1,000 something days I've been going through something. And he put that in his fucking album. That's not a kind of album that you can release 3 times a year. It's just not. So, quantity over quality. Which one do you care about more? At the end of the day, though, all this shit is subjective. You know what I'm saying? But I will say my favorite 3 albums that I consider like his certified classics, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, If You're Reading, This Is Too Late. I can literally listen to all those albums front to back and not skip a single song. Dead ass. What a Time to Be Alive is also, I would say, a classic, because I can listen to the album front to back too. But even when it comes to albums that I don't consider Drake's best, there's still a lot of songs from those albums that I like. Like, you know, there's Views, More Life, Scorpion, even Certified Lover Boy. Everybody was saying Certified Lover Boy's trash. I was in the back like, I thought this shit was kind of good. I don't know. And when it comes to Kendrick, bro, I'm sorry, like, maybe I got to go back and re-listen to Section 80. But from Good Kid all the way down to Mr. Around the Big Steppers, that's 4 classic albums. Even the Black Panther album was cool. I mean, I don't really count that as his album. It's more like a collaborative effort. But even Untitled Unmastered, the one full of throwaways, that shit was great. That shit was great. Overall, I go Kendrick over Drake. But Drake's still a GOAT in my opinion. But with everything I brought up, I'm sorry. I'm Kendrick all day, bro. If I had to choose. But I do think as of late, Drake's albums have taken a steep decline in quality. Because when I think of albums like For All the Dogs, If You're Reading This Is Too... Not If You're Reading This Is Too Late. Honestly, never mind. That Ain't It. I like a few songs from For All the Dogs. Honestly, never mind. I only like 2 or 3 songs. That was never the case back in the day. Like, back in the day, you could listen to a Drake album front to back, and there's a lot of people who feel the way I do about these recent Drake albums. Like, he over here dissing Rihanna and shit, beefing with women, talking about Megan Thee Stallion, and it's like, bro, you a grown ass man. The fuck is wrong with you? Nigga talking about, can your pussy do the dog? Sound like you want something else, Drake.